Okay, so this playlist is going to cover two chapters at once. It's FP2 Chapter 4 Recurrence Relations, but it's also Decision 2 D2 Chapter 7 Recurrence Relations. So this content has been both FP2 and D2. The only difference is that the proof by induction part, this exercise 4D, is only included for FP2. That does not feature in D2. You can't be expected to do this kind of proof by induction stuff. Please also note, any content that is related to second order recurrence relations is in A2 only. So if you're just doing the AS, you will only be looking at first order recurrence relations. So what is recurrence relations? What does it even mean? And so I kind of want to talk to you about some of the language here, because I think that will help us try and think about why it's called that and sort of the maths of what's going on. So the word recurrence means to occur again, a bit like to reoccur. Recurrence means to occur again. But in mathematics, if something is recursive, meaning it is related to being something that is recurrent, it means that results are found by repeated application of a rule to previous results. That's going to make a lot more sense when you have a look at some examples with me in the next couple of slides. So if we described a process as being recursive, it is one that depends on a previous version of itself. So let's have a look at some of these things and see why they're called recurrence relations, or why we might describe them as being recursive. So I've got 4 different bullet points of some of these things here. And I say the first one is that this is an example of a recurrence relation because the next number in a sequence is the previous number add 3. So to keep finding the next thing in the sequence, we are recursively adding 3 onto the previous number. So it's a kind of recurring kind of pattern of things that happens. This one you might actually know what this is, and I'll be interested to see if you do. The next number in a sequence is the sum of the 2 previous numbers. And so you can recursively keep doing that because you keep getting 2 new previous numbers and adding them together. Anyone think they know what this is? This is the Fibonacci sequence. That's how you generate a Fibonacci sequence. You could also have things like this, that the amount of money in a bank account accrues 2% compound interest per month, plus a deposit of an extra £100 into the account. So the amount of money that's in the bank is related to the amount of money that is currently in the bank because it gets 2% compound interest, but then you're also adding in £100 extra into that bank account each month. And then this is why I've kind of, it's to do with zombies, but this sort of recurrence relations can actually be used to try and model things about how diseases might spread. But I've kind of got this in the context of this zombie here. So on its first day of afterlife, an average zombie bites only one human, infecting them, and they become a zombie too. On the subsequent days, the zombie's hunger increases and bites 4 humans, infecting all of them. And the number of zombies can be modeled recursively. So that zombie, all zombies on their first day of having become a zombie, they only eat 1 human or turn 1 human into a zombie. But then in the subsequent days, they are attacking 4 humans each. So you can see the population of zombies is going to get pretty high pretty quickly. More complex versions of this model might also depend on how many humans there are sort of left over, because that might change some of the rates of how many humans they would be attacking. Now I've put in blue here, what additional information would we need about these 4 scenarios in order to generate a sequence or find out how much is in the bank account or work out how many zombies there are? Well, we would probably need to know something about the initial conditions. So what I mean by the initial conditions for this, it might be, well, what's the first number? Because if I don't know the first number, I'm not going to be able to generate the rest. And same here, might need to know the first 2 numbers in order to be able to generate the third number. For the amount of money in the bank account, I need to know how much was in the bank account to begin with. Was there anything there? And with the zombies, how many zombies were there on the first day and maybe on the second day as well, to be able to help me to generate this kind of pattern. So the initial conditions are basically how much was, what are we actually starting with here? So let's actually look at these, okay? Let's actually see if we can take these 4 bullet points and actually write them as recurrence relations. So this first one says the next number in a sequence is the previous number add 3. So I'm going to use u to represent the term that is in the sequence, and I'm saying n plus 1 to say the next number in the sequence. So the next number in the sequence is the previous number plus 3. And then I've got this thing here, this u0 or u0 equals 3. This is my initial condition. I am saying that the first number or the 0th number in this is 3. So if I was going to try and find out, say, the next number, I could say that u1 is equal to the previous number plus 3. So it's 3 plus 3. so it's 6. And U2 is the previous number, U1, because it's 1 less than 2, plus 3. So it is 6 plus 3, so it is 9. So you can see what's going to happen here with this sequence. You have 3, then you add on 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 3. I would say this is almost like the most sort of primary school kind of way of thinking about a sequence. When you first saw sequences of numbers like this, you either would have said it's the 3 times table, or you would have said, oh, the rule is add on 3. And so we're kind of looking at this as the rule being add on 3. This is what we would probably call the term to term rule. It tells you how to go from one term to the next term. But what about if it were written as UN? Well, that's actually just saying what is the nth term of this? What's the nth term of this particular sequence that we've got here? Well, it looks like it's just the position number multiplied by 3. So the nth term of it is 3n. But actually, anything that's going up in 3s would also work. So it could be un equals 3n plus k. That would allow us to generate all different kinds of sequences. But for this first one, I'm just going to say that if it was just in terms of like a closed form, meaning it is not a recurrence relation, we could say that it is 3n. I'm going to talk about this later, but this is a closed form because it is not relating to earlier ones, whereas this one, because of these parts here, this is a recurrence relation. Okay, let's look at this one. We've got the next number in a sequence is the sum of the two previous numbers. So this time I have said that the number in the sequence is the previous n minus 1 plus the previous one before that, n minus 2, summed together. And I've said that x0 is equal to 1 and x1 is equal to 1. So that would mean that x2 is equal to x1 plus x0, which is just 1 plus 1, which is 2. x3 would be equal to x2 plus x1, which is 2 plus 1, so it's 3. And x4 is going to be equal to x3 plus x2, so it is just going to be 3 plus 2, which is 5. And this is, of course, the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, this is the Fibonacci sequence. Starting with 1 and 1, we then get 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, etc., as we keep adding on those numbers. Now, the closed form of the Fibonacci sequence is what we will aim to do by the end of this whole playlist. It is way more complicated than you might expect it to be. So we're going to see if we can come up with almost like an nth term formula for this. This is like the nth term formula. We would come up for an nth term formula for this one as well. Okay, what about this one? So we've now got the amount of money in a bank account accrues 2% compound interest per month, plus a deposit of an extra £100 into the account. So this means that the amount of money, I've used A this time, in the bank account, it is 1.02 times the amount of money there in the previous month, plus £100. So it's 1.02 because 1.02 is 100% plus the 2% interest. As a decimal, that is 1.02. So we're taking the amount of money, increasing it by 2%, and also adding on £100. And we said to start with, there were £500 in the bank account. So I don't know, we're just going to do A1, maybe A2. So it would be 1.02 multiplied by 500. And then we would add on £100. So I'm going to do 1.02 times 500 plus 100. We've got £610 in the account. And then at the end of the month, we're then going to have 1.02 times by the previous one, which is A1. So that's going to increase by 2%. And then we'll add on an extra £100. And you can see where it's going. So we've got 1.02 times 610 plus 100. And we get £722. And 20 pence. So it's going to allow us to kind of model some other situations. Now, this is definitely the hardest of the ones that we've got here. So I've said it's much more complex. We've got this kind of setup that we've got here, and I'm going to try and explain why this is. We might also simplify it. I'll probably simplify it, but I'll explain on the top part. So the population of zombies in the month N, or the day N, excuse me, is 2 the population that there were the day before, plus 3 the population of the day before that. And we've said that on the 0th day, there were no zombies. And then one day, somebody became a zombie. I don't know if you've seen like The Last of Us, and there was like a contamination in the flour. Whatever it is, there is one patient 0 who becomes the zombie. So this one is a lot more complicated. Let's see if we can try and break down what this is. So this is the number of zombies, the number of zombies. I'm going to keep saying Z just to save time. Well, it's the same number of zombies that there were the day before. None of them have died. So it is the population of the day before. Makes sense, right? That the population is just going to be the same as the day before. But we're going to try now increase that population. Now, this part is because each zombie bites one human. Now, I've only said that for the ones that have, for that whole population of the day before, because every single zombie, whether it's their first day alive or their first day dead, or whether it's their second day dead, they're biting one or more than one zombie. So that's why I've got this part here. And then this part is representing the zombies that have definitely been alive now, the population that was the day before that, because all of the zombies now on that day before have had one day where they've only bitten one human, and so now they're going to bite 3 additional humans. Okay, so each zombie is biting one or more than one. So we don't put 4 here for the previous part because that's already accounted for in this previous part that we've got here. So this is saying the zombies more than 1 day old, are biting an additional 3. And I'm going to underline that word additional, because we've already accounted for one of their bites in this part. We're saying every zombie from the day before has bitten one human, but zombies that have been alive for the day before that are now also biting 3 additional humans. So we get this recurrence relation here where the zombie population is going to grow quite quickly. And you probably get an idea of like, how do you think this would grow if it was a closed form? Well, if it was a closed form, I'm just going to say that it is going to be exponential growth, okay? Which is quite strange, right? That we're getting something that appears linear, but then it's something that becomes exponential. And this kind of becomes one of the themes of recurrence relations as we start to see that they're ways of modeling growth in lots of different things. All of these things that we've been looking at has been growing money, growing sequences, growing zombie populations. And so it's not surprising that there's something to do with exponential growth there, because it's dependent on the current sort of setup that there is. So in the next video, I'm going to look at forming these recurrence relations just for first order stuff.